Is it too late to talk about the Vols? I don't know. It might not be. I may end up doing that someday, but today's not that day. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Titans Rundown. I am your host, Mikey McCamey, and man, we are really, really bad. It's kind of sad to watch, quite honestly, this team. But I'm not going to try and drag y'all down and make y'all upset for most of this episode. I'm not even going to spend that much time on the actual game that went down this weekend because I want to talk about NFL draft prospects at quarterback for most of this episode personally. But nonetheless, there was a game that went down Sunday, and we're going to have to talk about that first before we can get into the fun stuff. But before we do that, I do want to give a shout out to my Tennessee Volunteers for pulling off the W against Alabama. I remember hearing so many people tell me that Milroe was going to torch that defense, that the Vols didn't stand a chance, that, oh yeah, their loss to Vandy is better than y'all's loss to Arkansas, and y'all have looked a little worse than Alabama has. But, what we did? We went into Neyland Stadium with an incredibly loud environment, and we beat Alabama. It took a little bit for us to get going, don't get me wrong. But after that first half, it was on, man. After that first half, specifically. But still. All right. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Wanted to give my Tennessee Vols the love and respect that they deserve. But now we actually got to get into the bad Tennessee football team. So let's start out with the positives, though. First off, here's the thing. Like I said in the title, we're tanking at this point. No need to hide it. So let's talk about the things that you want to see out of a tanking team. You want to see your young players still show flashes. You want to see the coaching staff be really good. And you want to see, what else do you want to see? And you want to see flashes of there being greatness somewhere in there all around from everybody. Okay, so let's talk about the first positive, which was the young guys. They showed flashes of greatness once again. T-Sweat was pretty solid, as usual, absorbing double teams, getting tackles and stuff. The D-line still continues to be very solid. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. continues to be a surprise at cornerback, just absolutely killing it against sometimes even just receiver ones and twos. He's doing really well. Let me think. J.C. Latham still continues to be good, even with some other people on his O-line looking pretty bad. But we'll get to him later. Let me try and think. What else is there? Apart from that, really, the rest of the rookies, again, Jalen Harrell had a nice tackle for loss, but that's really about it. So, again, young players showing flashes. That's all you can really ask for from a team like this. Next thing. We know what it looks like with Rudolph now. Whenever I said that I wanted to see one game out of Rudolph, it wasn't me saying, oh, I want to try and win right now. I want to get to the wild card. Some of it was inside of me wishing that could happen, but I just wanted to see how much different it was from the Will Levis experience. And it wasn't that much different, but it also was a little better. Both at the same time. Let me explain. We gave the Bills 3 momentum shifts in that game. 2 fumbles and 1 not conversion on 4th and 2. And yet the Bills didn't pull away from this game until the 4th quarter or something like that. So I don't know. And Mason Rudolph started out really well. Those are the flashes that I want to see out of this team whenever you play a good first half or whenever you play a full good game. I just want to see flashes. That's all it is. So again, Mason Rudolph wasn't the worst problem, but still wasn't all that great or anything. So do with that what you will. But last positive is the defense was pretty good. Again, just staying consistent and well. There was one part of the defense that wasn't that great, but we'll get to them in just a few minutes. So Big Jeff continues to not really make all that much noise, but the rest of the D-line is. Arden Key finally did something and got a sack in this game. That was big because that got them out of field goal range, which they would never recover from. So that was good. Then there was also linebacker core is still fine. They aren't lighting the world on fire or anything, but they're doing enough. And that's really all I got to say about the defense. Good stuff from them. And now we got to get into the negatives. Starting out with Brian Callahan. Look, I defended his honor. last week, okay? And the truth is, he's had some pretty bad games these last 2 games. I'm not counting him out yet. Again, I'm not going to say I'm completely out on Brian Callahan like some dingoes are doing on Twitter right now, because it's not true. You don't need to count him out immediately right now, because again, still there's a chance that his play calls don't look good because he doesn't have the players to execute said play calls. Remember that first half, man. Mason Rudolph was looking pretty decent, actually, and the play calling to me looked fine. I mean, I saw a lot of people complaining about, like, oh, the revolutionary screens and hitches, but still, like, dudes were getting open. It's just that either the O-line didn't give enough time, Mason Rudolph threw a bad pass, or the receiver would drop the ball. Like, it was one of those things always, like, whenever we did have stuff open. So, like, again, don't get me wrong, the 4th and 2 is completely abysmal, okay? That was a horrible play call by him. But I still think that just that one play alone, everybody just judged him off of that. Like, and plus, we're 1-4. We're not doing anything. We were 1-4 going into this game. My apologies. We weren't doing anything going into this game. So, like, why not go for it? Like, don't get me wrong, okay? It was a bad play call, but, like, I don't think he called as horrible of a game as people are hyping it up to be, you know? But still, it wasn't a good play calling game. Don't get me wrong. Like, it wasn't like he set the world on fire or anything. He did, call some weird plays, and, he's a rookie head coach. He's going to make mistakes, and he's never called plays in his entire life. So just take that into consideration. He's even going to make mistakes because of that. But overall, Brian Callahan, you got to step up your game, man. You need to get this Titans fan base off of your back. Like, I still don't understand, though, why people are being this hard on him. Like, I think that's ridiculous. And everybody's just like, oh, that's why we should have kept Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel was a problem still. Like, he was a problem, and we just didn't. And if Brian Callahan ends up flopping, it was that we didn't pick the right solution, okay? But I don't think Brian Callahan will drop. I think he's going to be fine. Like, this offense has showed flashes throughout the little bit. Like, talk about the first half of the Buffalo game just now, the first half of the Bears game, the whole game against the Miami Dolphins. Like, he's showing are flashes being shown that this offensive scheme is good. It's just Callahan just doesn't know completely how to call it yet. And I'm fine on waiting for that. I can be patient right now because we're not a good football team. Like, that's what people need to realize. Like, it's not like he's going to immediately come in year one and be the best offensive mind in all of football. That doesn't happen that often. Like, it's rare that you get the McVay type year one immediately. Or like a Kevin O'Connell type. And even then, that was really lucky his year one. Like, he came back from a lot of deficits. And he also already had Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins. So, like, can we really say that he immediately came in and changed the game for that team? Like, he came in and changed the game. Like, McVay came in and changed the game for the Rams. So, heck, even Kyle Shanahan, from what I remember, he had a pretty bad first year. Hold on. I'm going to cut away from this, and I'm going to double check this. But, like, just give me 1 second. I'm going to look this up. Yeah, they went 6-10 in year one. And do you not think that after an 0-9 start for this team, for the San Francisco Niners, do you not think that Niners fans were questioning if Shanahan was any good at all? Like, we need to give him time. We need to be patient with him, and we need to let him figure things out, okay? I think he's gonna be fine. It's just that y'all are being so impatient with him because y'all set your expectations too high for Will Levis, for a year one head coach, for Calvin Ridley, who, heck, had dropping problems. Don't get me wrong. I did the same thing, okay? I was completely wrong about this roster. I called them stacked. They weren't. Like, let him get a quarterback, a young quarterback that we can develop, and then we'll talk, okay? But as it stands right now, I'm not giving up on Brian Callahan until he shows me that he is completely worth giving up on. Next thing, I just mentioned him, Calvin Ridley. Serious dropping problems, dude. You were begging for the ball last week in press conferences, yet you cannot catch the ball. Like, man, I liked the Ridley signing at first, and here's the thing. I will say most of the season, it has not been his fault. He hasn't He hasn't had a good quarterback. He hasn't been that bad. Same thing with DeAndre Hopkins and Tyler Boyd and Nick Westbrook-Akine even. I'm not going to say Traylon Burks. He was been bad, but like this week it was on Calvin. He was getting the ball. He was getting the ball in his hands. He just could not catch the dang ball. Like, dude, he's trying to use you. Callahan wants to use you as a Jamar Chase type of player. Prove to him that you are worth being that Jamar Chase type of player and stop dropping the ball, which is ironic because Jamar Chase, one of his biggest things going into the NFL before he absolutely went off with the Bengals was that he couldn't catch the ball in training camp. So, like, maybe you are more like Jamar Chase in more ways than one. His rookie version, at least, like, he's got to step it up. He's got to start looking at least competent, to say the least. His hands, at least. Okay, next thing, secondary. Outside of Jarvis Brownlee Jr., who was still fine. I wasn't expecting anything out of the secondary. Roger McCreary was fine, but, Baker, he was, a defensive back that was fourth on the depth chart. He didn't do anything special. He let up a touchdown, maybe even two. And the secondary looked really bad because of him. And the safeties, they didn't play that great. Surprising bad game from Quandre Diggs and a meh game from Amani Hooker. Oh, yeah, secondary also wasn't that great. But then the last thing, we got to talk about right tackle, dude. I don't know how we're going to fix right tackle and quarterback in one offseason, but we're just going to have to try our best in this at least. So here's the thing. Right tackle is absolutely necessary to fix this offseason. So we got to go out and we got to find somebody because we need, if we're going to give a rookie QB or heck, even just a bridge quarterback a chance to even do anything, we need a right tackle because the rest of this O-line is fine. Don't get me wrong, there Dylan Radins isn't insane, but Cushenberry's good. Skronsky, apart from his bad game against Green Bay, has been solid. And Latham, apart from his week 1 performance, which was understandable because he was a rookie, he's been amazing. So I feel like that if we just got a halfway decent right tackle, this O-line is going to look a lot better than it does right now. So I just wanted to put that out there. And I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do there. Are we going to draft a QB this year? Maybe sign a bridge, let the rookie quarterback wait a year or two under the bridge. And then while the bridge is getting killed back there, we go draft a right tackle. And then we can finally be ready to move on to the new rookie guy. Who knows? Maybe. But overall, right tackle needs to get fixed, and that needs to be priority number 2 on our list. And you might be asking, why does that need to be priority 2 if it's so bad? Well, let me tell you, my friend, because we're about to do some quarterback rankings for the class of 2025 in the NFL, okay? Because I think it's obvious we're drafting a quarterback. We're either drafting one or we're signing some veteran or something like that. So let's talk about this. All right, number 1, I have Cam Ward. Dude's just different. He is people will tell me that he's not going to be that great in the NFL. He is the only reason Miami football is relevant right now. Take him out of the picture, that team is nothing. Okay, he has been the reason that they have won most of the games that they have played. That's just my opinion anyway, but he is very, very good. I've been following him for a very long time, and I've been thinking, okay, so scouts will tell you he's got good accuracy, he's got good arm strength, he is a decent decision maker, he's mobile, and take away the decision maker. He's mobile, and he just overall has good pocket presence. And I've been thinking, why is this dude not talked about more? Even at Washington State, I was like, why is this dude being projected in the 7th? And now you're seeing him at Miami, and he's killing it. Trust me, he's gonna be good. Y'all doubted him going into college, and y'all doubted him at Washington whenever he transferred to Miami. Now, look at what he's gonna do in the NFL. Just trust me, he's gonna be good. Okay? And I am going to take that stance very strongly. Okay? Number 2, Shadur Sanders. I put Cam Ward number 1. because he has a higher floor. It's still not that high, but he has a higher floor than Shadur. Like, I think Shadur has the highest ceiling out of any of these guys, but I do think that he has the lowest floor out of all of these guys, or second lowest floor. We'll get to the lowest in just a little bit. Again, questions around his leadership and his level of competition, but like, I don't know, man. It's just there's something about him that's just a little different, you know? Like, I think he has a good arm. He's good with timing, which is big whenever you want to play in a Callahan type offense. And he overall just has a good understanding of the game. Now, I know that some people don't want the Dion drama and all that stuff, but like, I'm thinking I want to give that a shot. I want to go after Shadur. I mean, think about this. Think about how much attention we would get from the media. I know that Titans fans have been hungry for media attention, and not in a negative way like we've gotten this year. Like, imagine what that would be like, week 8, maybe the bridge quarterback isn't getting it done, and it's just like, should the Titans start Shadur Sanders this week? Like, we would get attention if we get Shadur, which I know that's not like the best reason for this is why we should draft him, but like, I just wanted to, play to y'all's needs and satisfactions. But no, Shadur's a good quarterback, and I think that he's been carrying that offense for a little bit. So I'm ready for him to come into the league, and if he gets put in the right situation, I think he's going to be good. All right, number 3, Quinn Ewers. This is whenever it takes a big downhill spiral. I think those first 2 are the only ones that have a chance of being like potentially elite, and the rest of these guys could be good, but they also could be absolutely horrible. Quinn Ewers, he has potential to be decent. I think he could be pretty good, but I think that there's something about his injury proneness, and there's something about just how he just did not look good against Georgia, which, okay, don't get me wrong, okay? Everybody has their problems against Georgia, okay? We'll talk about that in a little bit, but like, dude, he was the reason that they lost that football game. Defense played a very good second half. I won't say the first half because obviously, but defense played a good second half, and the offense just fell over on itself. So I just think that he's not like an insane quarterback. I think he's pretty good. I think that he has the potential to be like, I don't know, Ryan Tannehill with a stronger arm, or Kirk Cousins with a stronger arm. But his floor, probably what Will Levis is right now, just for context about how lowly I think of his floor. So that's number 3. Number 4, Jalen Milroe. This dude has the highest ceiling out of any of these guys. I think he could be Lamar Jackson, potentially. But whenever you say that he could be Lamar Jackson, you've also got to say, I think he could be, there's a chance that he also ends up being, I don't know, man, what's that one dude that won the Heisman for Ohio State a few years back? I can't remember his name. I'll put his name and picture up here just so that way y'all know who he is. But he went to the Ravens, didn't really do anything in his career. He got replaced by Joe Flacco 1 year later. So again, don't think that he was all that great, and that is why he is the floor for Jalen Milroe. Because Jalen Milroe, very mobile, has a pretty strong arm, but he has had some low moments with Alabama. The Texas game last year, anyone? How about the Tennessee game and the South Carolina game this year? Vandy? Like, I know that he was decent enough against Vandy. Like, that team, he put up enough points to win the game, but, like, he still didn't look that great. Like, he still had some very bad moments, like having a strip sack, which probably lost Bama the game, and then he threw a very crucial pick 6, which also could have cost them the game. Like, if they score a touchdown drive on that, then Alabama would have won that game. But yeah, Jalen Milroe, really high ceiling, highest out of all these guys, but an insanely low floor. Like, it is all the way down there. And then number 5, Carson Beck. I put this dude here because he doesn't really have that high of a ceiling, and he has a decently low floor. Like, I feel like that his ceiling is, let me think about this. His ceiling is a 10 times worse Joe Montana. Like, way worse Joe Montana. Like, as in, like, he'll put you up like 3,800, 20 and 10 a season, and he'll do enough for you to get to the playoffs if you have a good team around him. But he will not win you a playoff game, and he will not lead you to the promised land. That. And then his floor, how about, oh man, what's his name? Man, Paxton Lynch. He's Paxton Lynch at his floor. Tall quarterback that's decently athletic, really good in the pocket, has a strong arm, but his decision making is just so like that's his floor. So like, yeah, I really like I was interested in Carson Beck at one point, but then he threw 3 picks against Texas. And now I'm just thinking, I don't know about him. But overall, yeah, no, Carson Beck, worst quarterback out of these 5. Now, I got to give one of my boys a shout out in this list cuz like, yo, Clemson, Cade Klubnik has been balling, dude. Like, it got off to a rough start against that Georgia defense, but like I said with Quinn Ewers, who hasn't looked bad against that Georgia defense? Like, apart from Jalen Milroe, apparently, which is why he has the highest ceiling out of any of them. But, like, who hasn't looked bad against Georgia's defense? Apart from that, he's been killing everybody that he's been going up against. He already has 20 touchdowns on the season. Like, dude's on track for 40 or maybe like 35, but still, like, he is on track to have a really good season. And he has the traits that you look for in a good quarterback, at least, to me. So, like, I think that he is a sleeper for this draft, but I don't think he'll amount to too much, honestly. I think he'll be a career backup, but like I think he is a sleeper to like low key end up becoming a good quarterback eventually. But I'm not going to go all in and be like, oh yeah, you know, he could easily jump Carson Beck or Jalen Milroe. No, he's not going to do that. But I'm saying like he isn't as bad as you'd expect him to be. He's my QB6. So anyway, that's today's episode. Look, I have Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok if you want to go check those out. All under the Titans Rundown. But anyway, that's going to do it all for me. This has been a rundown of your Tennessee Titans. I love y'all, and tighten up.